What's going on YouTube? My name is Dylan. Welcome back to Vanboy Auto Styling. Today we're going to be attempting an install of wheel spacers on my BMW F30. So before we get into the install, just wanted to talk a little bit about wheel spacers and how they work. Basically, this is a just round piece of aluminum that's been cut to kind of fit over the original hub on the car. That basically pushes the wheel out a little bit further, so it kind of gets rid of that kind of tucked in look and kind of pushes them out for a more aggressive look. This for me is a temporary fix while I am waiting to eventually get wheels and tires on this car. I'll be upgrading to a bigger size and a different offset so it'll look better with new wheels. But for right now, wheel spacers are a great cheap way to get rid of that gap and give it a little bit more of a custom look. So these spacers I actually found on eBay. They ran me about $80. These are actually a staggered set. So the front is a 15mm spacer and the rear is a 20mm spacer. That just means that the rear wheel is going to stick out farther than the front wheels. On the M Sport package of this car, that's actually how it comes from the factory, staggered like that. So I'm kind of chasing that aggressive M Sport look. So the reason why I said attempting earlier is that these sizes are actually just a little bit bigger than what is recommended for this car. Keys Motorsports did a really good video on spacers, and he kind of concluded that for these stock wheels, the best spacer sizes you can do are 12mm in the front and at the most an 18mm in the rear. I have a 20mm in the rear and a 15 in the front. So I'm not sure how this is going to fit. The car is already lowered on H&R Super Sport springs, so that might give me a little bit of rubbing. We're just going to attempt it today and see how it looks. So adding spacers to your setup isn't actually that hard of a job. All you basically have to do is jack up the car, remove the wheel, place the spacer, and put everything back together. So if you don't know, BMWs are a little weird on the way that they mount their wheels. There's not actually a nut that holds the wheel on. The whole thing is actually held on by a lug bolt. It looks like this. Regular cars, you'd kind of have this stem sticking out and then you'd screw a nut on top of that. This is an all-in-one thing that is kind of common on a lot of German cars. When I bought this kit, it actually did not come with the correct hardware size for this car. It was for, I guess, an older BMW, so the diameter was a little skinnier. I contacted the seller on eBay and they actually just sent me out the correct size hardware free of charge, which is really awesome. So if this kit fits on the car, I will link it in the description down below, or if it's close enough that you could probably get away with it on stock height, I'll go ahead and link that down anyways. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna go ahead and get this wheel off of the front of the car over here. All right, so as you can see, the wheel is now off of the vehicle. So what I'm gonna do, just gonna bring this a little closer. I've actually already kind of cleaned up this wheel surface here, where the wheel mounts to the really to the brake rotor there. I'd actually already cleaned that up because I was trying to install these earlier, but then I found out I had the wrong hardware size. So it's all clean already. However, if yours isn't, if yours looks a little bit rusty or anything like that, just go ahead and clean that up so that it's got a nice smooth surface to mount to. And basically all you're going to do is just press that on. As you can see, it's seated really nicely and it extends the hub out. This is called hub centric. You kind of want this when you're looking for spacers. You don't want it to just be flat. This is going to allow the wheel to make sure it is definitely centered on there. So I'm going to line up these mounting holes as best that I can see there. And we're going to move out the old hardware because it is no longer long enough. You will always have to get longer hardware whenever you're installing spacers to make sure that the wheel has enough bite into the hub and it doesn't go flying off as you're going down the road. It's gonna be very scary. So I'm gonna walk the wheel back over here. And this is where that whole lug bolt thing that BMW does becomes very annoying because you have to kind of lift the wheel onto here and it's very easy for it to just fall off because the only thing is holding it on is that hub centric ring. But we'll manage. There's actually a few companies out there that sell a conversion kit for BMWs that actually replaces these lug bolts with permanent studs that go into the wheel hub. So it makes changing the wheel or taking it off a lot easier. I think the reasoning for that is kind of for race applications, where you would be removing and replacing a wheel pretty rapidly, but it would make daily life much more easy as well. So I've got one in there to kind of hold the wheel on. I'm gonna go ahead and just get these kind of started by hand, holding the wheel in. Not really tightening anything down right now. You kind of really can't unless the car is on the ground anyways. And it is important to use a torque wrench when reapplying lug bolts or lug nuts, because there's a specification that you're actually supposed to go to for the tightness of these. And the reasoning for that is so, again, that the wheel doesn't fly off as you're going down the road. In a previous vehicle I had worked on, I had actually done something. I think I replaced the shocks or something in the car, and I replaced the wheel and tightened all these pretty tightly with a breaker bar by hand, and nothing happened, thankfully. But I had come back to the vehicle a little while later and I had to remove the wheel for something, and when I went to loosen the lug nuts, they were already extremely loose. I didn't have to use the breaker bar at all, really, which is not a good thing. You want it to be tight. You want it to stay tight on there. All right, so that is that on. I can already kind of tell that I think it's gonna poke a little bit, but that might look cool. So let me bring the camera back and I will lower the car back down with the jack here. And here's to hoping that we don't slam it onto the fender. Slowly lowering it back down. Cool. It actually looks really good. It looks really flush. Gonna take you guys over to the side here where you can see it at a little better angle, and you'll see that the wheel's sitting pretty flush with the side of the car now. I'll have to do a turning test and see if I can go lock to lock without scraping anything. However, at first glance, it does not look like anything's gonna scrape. It looks pretty good. Looks really good, actually. I think it definitely just enhances what the springs had already started, so dope. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten that down now with the torque wrench. For these cars, it is 88 foot-pounds of torque on your torque wrench. If you wanna set that, metric, that's 120 Newton meters. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that off camera, and I'll go ahead and do the rest of the wheels because it is getting dark, and I will rejoin you guys for a kind of final walk around to see what it all looks like put on. All right, so as I was finishing putting on those spacers, it did end up getting dark, so I just decided to come back and finish the wrap up of that video another day. So as you can see, everything's on. Fitment is super flush. I'm really happy with how that turned out. I hate the stock wheels, but I have to say they are growing on me with the addition of these spacers, making everything fit so freaking flush that it looks so good. H&R Super Sport lowering springs combined with these spacers, just aggressive, tiny few millimeters of poke on the back there. Staggered spacers again, really big spacers, bigger than what people recommend, but from what I found, everything is going really well. Absolutely no rubbing, didn't have to modify the fender covers or anything like that. The hardware that came, super sturdy. So I don't know if I told you guys earlier, but again, I actually bought this spacer kit, and I think it was for like an E36 or something older, so the lug bolts were not the right size. So I contacted the seller, and they were nice enough to just go ahead and just send me out the correct hardware size at no extra cost, which was really awesome. So definitely link this exact kit that I bought in the seller on eBay down below. Don't mind the lip, that's coming up in another video for you guys. But yeah, really happy with how this came out. For me, this is a temporary fix. However, if you want to do this, running spacers can be safe. I can verify that these are high quality aluminum spacers. They sit flush and they are hub centric, so you shouldn't have any problems. I don't know about tracking the car with something this big, especially on the back. Those 20s are really big and could throw off the OEM geometry that was made for the car. But overall, I really like how this looks, and while I'm waiting on new wheels and tires, I think this is a perfect solution for me. So a couple things right now. I'm actually talking with a guy on Facebook Marketplace about buying his wheels. It's from a 5th generation M3, and it actually has tires on it. It's a nice staggered setup. I think it'll look really dope on this car, so might be picking that up this weekend. But yeah, super excited. So these spacers might not even be on here for long, but I wanted to buy them, check it out, show you guys some of the more affordable options out there on the marketplace that are also safe and reliable. So I can say I've been running these for about a week now, no problems whatsoever. Just be sure to torque down your lug bolts to the correct spec and just double check them over the next few days, make sure everything's seated nicely. But I've had no problems, and I love the way this looks, so I can definitely recommend it. But again, thank you for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you can catch any more content that I make. I do upload probably twice a week, and I'm really enjoying getting into this F30 community and getting to know you guys, especially those of you on the subreddit. So thanks for checking it out. If you'd like to support the channel, I do make car banners and decals. I sell those on Etsy, so I'll link my Etsy shop down below. And again, follow me on Instagram at Vanboy Auto Styling to just keep up with what's going on. So thanks again, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.